Today in the crypto space, we see a bit of a dip throughout the market. Bitcoin down approximately 7%. However, guys, Ethereum holding up steadily, showing a bit of strength here and could be an indication that we are potentially entering an altcoin season. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are coming down as well. Bitcoin leading the way to the downside. But again, guys, if Ethereum is starting to show strength here, we could see some good bounces throughout the market. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to focus on Ethereum. I want to talk about Ethereum and what could we expect from the Ethereum price in the immediate short term. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description, but better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's see what's going on here, because we see Bitcoin taking a bit of a dip while Ethereum is holding pretty steady. Yes, it's down a bit, down approximately 1.5%. However, nothing has really changed. No structural breaks just yet. It is at the bottom of the range currently, and it could break down. However, guys, Ethereum is still showing strength. Regardless, still showing a strength in comparison to Bitcoin. You can see that based on this little chart right here. Bitcoin, although right now it's dipping down, Ethereum is still hanging there. It's still hanging in. Now, the question is, what is going to happen when Bitcoin gets its support? When Bitcoin finds its bottom in the short term, gets a little bit of support and gets a short-term bounce to the upside, what is going to happen? How is Ethereum going to take that news? Is Ethereum going to continue to the upside? And if that is the case, that's when we get our second indication that we are potentially entering in an altcoin season. Guys, that's what we've been anticipating. That's what we've been building for, is to see these altcoins run. We've been buying low caps, mid caps, micro cap altcoins in the last little while in anticipation and in preparation for an altcoin season. Guys, if you appreciate that strategy, getting into nice speculative assets that definitely have good value propositions, check out my deep dives, guys. I release a deep dive every Sunday where I talk about one project. I get into one project and basically identify some of the key aspects, the key bullish or maybe even bearish aspects behind that project. Guys, I'm gearing up for a new one, deep dive for Sunday, and if you want to vote on that deep dive on which project I cover, feel free to join that Discord and place your votes. Let's continue going down here. We see Solana continue going sideways. We see Cardano doing pretty good. It's holding steady. That's all we really want is structure. Although AVAX at the current moment is down 9%, it's still within structure. So no lower lows, no real bearishness, nothing else other than, you know, a healthy retracement. And we see that market wide based off of Bitcoin's lead. And that's totally fine, because Ethereum is still showing us that altcoins have a fighting chance to recover here with a lot more strength than this dip. Across the market, we're seeing about a 5 to 10% dip. That's in overall scenarios. We can see that Chainlink down 5%, Polygon 5%, and we have ICP down 6%. But generally speaking, you know, that's the range that we're looking at, right? And that's not a big deal, because as long as the bounce and the recovery is nice and strong, we're going to see a higher high. And that's ultimately what we want. We want a lower high and then a higher high. A higher high and then a higher low. And that overall will give us a trend to the upside. And in a nice trend to the upside, especially on altcoins, we have some real green price action that we can capitalize off of. So that's pretty good. And we've been entering and getting our entries nice and early. We have stacks down 9%. We have VeChain coming down a little bit. And you can see a lot of this is still looking okay. There's nothing really to be worried about. Rocket Pool hanging out there, you know, kind of going sideways. The graph doing the very similar thing. What else? We have Quant coming down a little bit, still above that $100 mark, is still okay, but we're down 6%. And market wide, we're down. This could be the last little dip before we get that altcoin season. And the thing is, guys, here on the channel, we've been waiting for that altcoin season. Now, you know, the first time I waited for it, it didn't happen. The second time I waited for it, it didn't happen. Now, the third time could be the charm. And usually that's usually what happens, is that you anticipate, and then finally it happens and patience gets rewarded. And I'm hoping that finally we get some rewards here. In tonight's live stream at 7:30 Eastern, we'll talk about the Bitcoin dominance. We'll talk about the Bitcoin price and compare the scenarios here to see if what are the probability, what is the chance that we get into this altcoin season. So don't forget to join me live tonight at 7:30, and of course that is a great time and place to make those requests. Let's continue going down here. We have a lot of these altcoins still grinding, and some of them dipping down to slightly lower levels, but overall okay. The market is still with an upwards trend. Even though Bitcoin's not looking the greatest in the short term, the rest of the market is looking healthy. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin our analysis talking about Bitcoin. You can see that Bitcoin got that rejection. That rejection right here was crucial, was something that, you know, I anticipated. And given the fact that it happened, leads me to believe that there are a lot more people other than myself that believe that needs to happen as well. Market participants got in here and brought the price slightly lower. Now, the significance behind this rejection is the fact that we are back within the range. We're back within this sideways consolidation. Slightly upward sloping, fine, but still within consolidation. If we start breaking to lower levels, guys, it looks like Bitcoin could be in a big retracement. Let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. Now, I do identify that my chart's a bit hectic currently. It looks a bit like a mess, but it works out for me, and hopefully it does help you guys out as well. You know, the amount of indicators that you choose has to work out for yourself, and for me, my indications are, the indicators that I like to use are the MACD, the RSI, and the volume profile. These are the three that I use. Obviously, I do have some EMAs in here, and I have some other indications here and there, but really it's these three things that I really like: momentum, trend, and volume. These are great indicators to keep you on track. And we can see that we built a bit of volume here based on the volume profile that filled up the volume gap. This is no longer an empty space. This red box identified the volume gap that used to be here, right? And prior to this consolidation, this was empty. And as we consolidated here with a bit of volume, you can see we filled it up. So reality is that I got to update this. The reality is this is not an empty, this is not a weak spot any longer. Let me get onto bigger time frames to kind of see here. Yeah, it's no longer a weak spot. And you can see here on the daily as well, it's pretty much filled up. Let's see how this populates. There we go. Look at that. So you know what? I'm very comfortable updating this. So let's do that. Let's get rid of this. The top of the volume gap is usually where we get the reaction, and we got it. No big deal. So let's leave that one in, and we'll reuse some of these horizontals. Let's reuse this. We'll scooch this down. Let's click it. We'll make it a bit thinner because reality is, you know, the volume gap still kind of exists, but it's a little bit lower. It's nowhere near as where we are right now. You can see that it's right about here. Okay, and if we include more price action, you'll see what I mean. And what I would like to do is make this a little bit less wide and bring it like this a little bit, and we'll kind of zoom in a little bit more. We'll make it more isolated so it makes more sense. And you can see that we have that diagonal that we could come down and test, and that's very important. And then what we're going to do is we're going to reuse this again and put that right here. We'll duplicate this, and we'll grab it and we'll put it at the bottom, which is really nice. I don't want to remove that top one because you can see that we do have the red arrow there, and it's nice to kind of look at that as the previous high, the rejection point where we currently are looking at. If we come back up, make a higher high, the next level is at about 52K. Right now, this doesn't look good. It looks like a pivot point. And it's all about momentum, okay? It's all about momentum, and the reason why is, look at the RSI. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the RSI, and the MACD is also doing the same thing and showing us that overall the trend is trying to get to the downside and get into the bearish control zone. If that happens, guys, expect Bitcoin to come down. First stop is at about 32K. I'm going to anticipate that price target. If we get it into an oversold condition, an oversold state, whether it be the 4-hour or the daily, I'll make some decisions on whether I start scaling in. And if the daily's not oversold yet, by the time we come down to about 32K, more or less within this box, the probability of the daily getting oversold means that the probability is that we come down to about 25K. I know nobody wants to hear that, but that's the reality, guys. We got to try to stay one step ahead of the market here and anticipate you know, worst case scenarios and hope for the best, but ultimately I want to make sure that I have cash on the side to deploy if we do happen to come down to that level. And it's not a bearish level. The reality is if we come down here, it is still a higher low. Remember, this was the low that was never confirmed as the absolute low. If we come down and make a nice rounded bottom, let me get that pen mark out here, come down, you know, do our thing, distribution, come down, do one of these, okay, we come down to here, as low as here, no big deal, we reaccumulate and off to the races. And the reality is this low will give us a confirmation that this low was the low. And then this is the time to start deploying. Now we could come down a little bit more, who knows, maybe down about 18. Our worst case scenario, that would be an 886 retracement from this low. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we have to anticipate if momentum does get oversold, which horizontal level of support are we going to hold? And that's what we're going to have to do, is stay one step ahead of the market, pay attention to momentum, and pay attention to where we hold support, and start looking for bullish divergences on the daily to the upside, because an accumulation phase at these levels could be the last accumulation opportunity to buy the dip before the bull run. Okay, guys, so that's what we're going to be looking at in the next little while. But in the meantime, what is Ethereum doing? Ethereum is allowing, okay, the altcoins, are giving a signal that the altcoins could have the opportunity to catch up to Bitcoin. Look what Bitcoin did from its bottom to its top. It's pretty much up 200%. A lot of the altcoins, relatively speaking, did not grow at this rate. They need to catch up. They need to show some strength, right? And if altcoins do that, they will definitely outperform Bitcoin. They will definitely grow much more than 200%. Ethereum is showing us a little bit of strength. As we speak, Ethereum is down approximately 1%, while Bitcoin is down 6%, which means that the Bitcoin dominance currently at the moment should be coming down. We'll take a look at the Bitcoin dominance tonight to kind of confirm all these details, but you can see that ultimately we need these altcoins to run and catch up to Bitcoin. A lot of them didn't even move yet, and we're waiting for them to wake up. Okay, so let's jump right into the Ethereum price. Let's see what's going on here. Ethereum is trying to play catch up to Bitcoin, and we got to see Ethereum catch up a little bit more and potentially get to about 3K. I'm looking at about a 3K Ethereum, even as high as about 35 or 3600 would be possible. That would be my next target of reaction, right around this area. And if we happen to get to this area, this is where I'm going to start to get a bit defensive. I'm not saying that I'm going to exit my positions. I'm saying this is where I might take a bit of profit. This is where I might essentially reduce my position sizes, so I'm not over risked, and that way I can trail up a stop loss as well, ensure that I'm in profit. Because as we speak, guys, from this little breakout analysis and from these buy the dip opportunities that we identified early on, guys, we're in some green price action. We're definitely in the green here on Ethereum, which nobody wants to admit, but Ethereum right now is looking good. Let's kind of zoom in. And to be honest, I don't even cover Ethereum very much here on the channel, but when it is looking good, it's looking good. I can't deny it. Okay, this could be a nice bull flag. We do have a volume gap. This is a very typical setup. Okay, so let's look at the daily here for a second to confirm everything. Momentum, higher highs on the price action, still lower highs on the RSI. Okay, this is very normal. This is bearish divergence. It could be invalidated. In fact, it's looking for an invalidation. If we come up and go higher than this previous high, it starts to look like an invalidation of the bearish divergence. So far, it is still lower than this high, which means that the bearish divergence is still valid. But look at the MACD. The MACD right now, EMA's up, green histogram bars to the upside. The trend to the upside is definitely confirmed, and it's in the bullish control zone, which essentially means that it's likely that we start moving to the upside. We made a lower high here on the MACD, on the histogram bars. Sorry, a higher low. And then all of a sudden, now we're making a higher high on these histogram bars. So it looks like ultimately we're in a bit of a channel to the upside, or we're getting springs for back tests and eventually make a nice impulsive move so that we stay in the bullish control zone and see Ethereum continue to the upside. I'm more bullish probability wise that Ethereum will hit its bullish price targets very soon. So consolidation is probably in the works. Let's kind of expand this MACD for a second and make sure that we can see this. Now let's get into the 4 hour. And let's kind of look at what's happening here. You can see that the price action is consolidating very, very nicely. It's going sideways after a nice impulsive move. What else do you expect? You expect consolidation. We do see a double top type of pattern. However, there's no bearish divergence, right? And the reason being is that we have highs over here and lows over here. Exclude the wicks, guys. When you're looking for divergence, you must exclude the wicks. And if you look at the tops on this RSI, they are also downward sloping. So there's no real divergence here. You know, the price action's following the momentum nicely. That's fine. Let it happen. And we could be coming down for a bit of a breather, which is healthy. The MACD right now is EMAs are facing down, red histogram bars to the downside. Also a very normal thing to see, especially when we start expecting a bit of a dip or corrective move, because it did impulse up. So how low can we go? That is the question. Remember the daily stance. The daily stance is looking like it wants to continue to the upside. So this could be a short-term, you know, type of thing where we see Ethereum kind of pull back and maybe continue to the upside, right? So let's go back into the price action. So bull flag it is, right? This could be that we come down a little bit more, and we have to identify the fact that we have a weak spot. The weak spot is right here. Okay, let's put this in. I know it's the 4 hour, and I usually don't do this on the 4 hour, but you know how important this breakout is right now for the market. It's so important. It's the confirmation of the most important money-making opportunity that we have, which is altcoin season, right? Altcoin season brings in the most amount of gains market-wide. Okay, so this is the weak spot. If we do not hold the top of the volume gap at about, let's give you a number, 2570, guys, we're falling down. It's very likely to hit these highs, right? These highs right here, 1, 2, 3, the breakout point, to back test the breakout point. And I know I made this a bit deep, but the reality is what we really have to identify is the importance of this level right here. And I'm going to put another little horizontal as best as I can right into here. The reason being is that this is the majority of the weak spot right into here. Here we start to pick up. So if we do backtest and we do get some support right on this white line and on these tops, and we start to show a little bit of bullish divergence here on the 4 hour, this would be a good time to buy the dip. But that only is dependent on the fact that we break down. We could hold support on the top of the volume gap, and we could go sideways. We could definitely go sideways while Bitcoin falls. Ethereum could still show strength by going sideways. And as we speak, we are definitely getting a bounce up from the bottom of the range here on the 4 hour, which means after a bull flag, what do we get? We get a continuation to the upside. And if that's going to happen, guys, altcoin season on. Bit of volume as confirmation. In fact, we got some already. So the likelihood for a continuation to the upside after a continuation pattern is quite high. And again, continuation pattern means that we might hit our bullish price target of about 3K. And that's when I'm going to start considering getting defensive and expecting the next price target to go to about 35K. And then from there, we'll take it day by day, and we'll, start, de-risking and doing the thing that we always do: protect those gains, protect your capital, and start deploying on lower caps, starting with the large caps, mid caps, micro caps, all of those caps. We're going to slowly rotate into smaller, more speculative, more volatile assets, because those guys are the ones that are going to run. And especially after we get a confirmation of an altcoin season, those are the ones that are going to give you massive gains. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. Guys are going to be live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. It is a great time and place to request any projects you're interested in. We'll talk about the Bitcoin dominance. We'll talk about the altcoin season, and ultimately we'll come up with a plan for this potential move that is around the corner. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.